If you found yourself getting paralyzed by decisions, that horrible moment when you're asked a question and everything goes completely blank, you're like a bunny rabbit or a deer in the headlights, we can't make answers, we can't make words, then this podcast episode is for you. Hi, I'm Freya, the neurodivergent brain and heart behind Mumshine, and I wanted to create a space to talk about some of the things that make neurodivergent motherhood a little bit more challenging, as well as talking about some strategies to try and lighten the load a little, and doing that in under 10 minutes or less. So today, let's get stuck in. We're talking decision making. So decisions. Why is it harder as a neurodivergent mum? Well, the first part is decision making is a bit trickier for neurodivergent people, generally speaking. And the underlying reason for that comes down to our executive functioning, or as some people say, executive dysfunction. It's the part of our brain that plans, prioritizes, has working memory. That ability to know why you walked into a room after you've done it, find your keys, locate your coffee cup, or, even remember what's on the to-do pad. That same part of our brain is also responsible for planning and prioritization. And it's not one of our strengths. There are noticeable differences here that mean that this part of our brain kind of doesn't work all that well. So how does that fit into decision making? Well, if you take a step back and look at it, that ability to be able to plan or prioritize means that if you're faced with a choice, for example, would you like coffee or tea? If you've got a strong executive functioning part of your brain, you're able to see the information, but also sort it for what's actually important versus what's noise. In neurodivergent brains, our ability to do that is reduced. So often we can see a lot of detail and we can have a lot of thoughts and see a lot of things, and they kind of just crowd onto the pad, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. But it doesn't necessarily make it any clearer as to what's important or what isn't. So for example, that tea or coffee example might be, depends. What type of coffee is it? Is it fair trade? Is the tea fair trade? Is it organic? Am I having it black? Is there milk? Do I need it now? What time of day is it? I've had 3 coffees today already. Is that too many? Is the caffeine less in the tea? I guess it depends on what type of coffee it is. You see what I mean? A lot of that's there. And so it can make it difficult to work out what it is we really want or what it is we really need. So that can make decision-making tricky. The second thing that will make decision-making tricky is often a lot of us are people pleasers, whether that's from rejection sensitivity dysphoria, a history of trauma, or really ingrained masking where it doesn't feel safe to be ourselves. Often we want to do the right answer or the appropriate thing or do things that are appealing to other people. Like, I don't know, what are you having? Trying to work it out that way. So often it can be hard to know what it is we genuinely really want or what it is we genuinely need. And so those kind of things coupled together mean that decision making for us can be paralyzing and it can feel really, really heavy. I mean, all human brains are designed that there's only so much capacity to make good decisions every day. It might be that your magic number's 5 or 50, but your brain, every brain on the planet, has only got a capacity to make a certain number of good decisions a day. And often, if we're unable to make a good decision, we just make the easiest decision. So that can be, what's for dinner? Don't know. Nothing left in the tank to make a good decision. It's too hard. It's too overwhelming. The answer is takeaway. Because it's the path of least resistance. It's easy. Or I'm not going to have anything at all. A cup of tea. So all brains have a finite capacity. But a lot of neurodivergent brains, that capacity is lower. And it takes a lot more effort and energy because it takes a lot more effort and energy to make each decision that we make. So if it's you and you're struggling with decision making, I want you to cut yourself a break and acknowledge that this is hard. And let's also take a moment to look at the sheer number of decisions we have to make every day when we have kids. Like in our life before kids, it wasn't that many. And you could simplify it right down. Take the same route to work, wear the same thing every day, eat the same thing every day. We could narrow it down heaps. But with kids, suddenly you're making decisions for yourself as well as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra people. And making decisions in relation to lots of different things and lots of different people asking your opinion every single day. It kind of feels like all roads lead to us. It's a lot. So it's already you're being asked to do something that's hard for you. that you're not necessarily that great at, that takes a lot of energy, and you're being asked to do it more. Winning. So yeah, cut yourself some slack. If you're finding it hard with decision making, it's okay to note that it's hard and to note this isn't our strength. So I guess I get asked all the time, well, what can I do about it? It's one thing to note and acknowledge and be self-accepting that this is hard. But how can I make it a little bit easier? What can I do to lighten the load? I said one thing, but I'm actually going to say two things because I can't decide which one to share with you first. I hope that's okay. So the first option is we can look to systemize where we can and reduce the amount of decisions that exist within a day. So implementing systems and supports that way. So again, it might be some of those things like simplifying wardrobe and wearing the one sort of outfit pretty much every day. Similar, reducing the choices around clothing, reducing the choices around self-care or makeup routines, reducing food choices in the pantry or in the fridge, reducing the ways in which we commute or travel to work or get places. You know, setting up some things kind of as, I call it defaults rather than decisions, because then it doesn't necessarily become a choice. And so you can do that. That is ultimately the best goal in the world, if you can. That is the gold standard. But at the end of the day, there's only so many decisions that you can control. And reducing them will give you a lot more capacity to make decisions for things that come at you sideways. But how do we deal with those sideways things? How do we make those things a little bit lighter and a little bit easier? Simple thing that I implement, and I suggest a lot of my clients do as well, is looking at the rule of fives. And this is before making a decision, just asking yourself, will I remember this in 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, 5 decades? And if it's anything less than years or decades, so if it's anything under 5 months, just toss a coin, it don't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. A or B, toss a coin, taking the cognitive load out of it. If it's a small decision, let's not sweat it, because every decision feels big in our brains, even when it's not. If it's in the 5 years, 5 decades bucket, then, outsource it. It's a conversation to have with a friend. It's not a decision to make on your own. That shouldn't sit with you. And it's a different tool, different skill set. But try those things. See if you go systemize where you can. Let's remove some choice. We weren't designed to have this much information, this many possessions, this many things happening in our lives. It's exhausting. And when you are faced with a decision, if it's a little one, toss a coin, because it doesn't really matter. So hopefully that helps you to understand a little bit why decision-making is tough, that you're not alone with it and it's okay to struggle, and maybe just one little thing to try and do differently. That's it today for Mum Shine Moments. And I'd love to hear in chats and comments as well about what decisions are hard or easy for you. Thanks.